Good evening. How's everybody doing on this lovely Thursday? Lovely and hot. I hope you all are doing well. I know that I am. It is great to be back here with you guys with the Virtual Village family. Now that we have gone to Thursday broadcast, I'm missing on you guys. I feel like it takes quite a bit of time for the week to come around for me to be able to see you all, but I hope you all are doing well. I hope everybody is reading, reading and affirming Black literature and Black culture. Again, you guys, I am Star and I am the founder and executive director of Clever Communities in Action. And we are all about this culturally affirming literature movement, all about making sure that our children are reading, okay? And that they are reading books with characters that look like themselves, that affirm who they are. So y'all need to be checking in with us about your summer reading list, letting us know what you all are reading, letting us know how that is going. We posted a list for you guys out there. So I hope you all have been checking it out and just devouring those books. We have a very, very interesting reader coming on tonight. I know you guys are going to enjoy him. But before we get into that, we got to get into this.
Look, mommy, community in action. But oh my, let us sound of that. Look, daddy, there's a book for me too. But oh my, let us sound of that. Creative, affirming, and culture for me too. Look, granny, and let us sound of that. Look, granny, and let us sound of that. Look, granny, and let us sound of that. Learning and exploring about history, you see. Look, mommy, and let us sound of that. We confident, we practice and develop fluency. Look, daddy, and let us sound of that. Families, they bond and they representing me. Look, granny, and let us sound of that. Look, I'm here, let us sound of that. Nice, I see, let us sound of that.
So reliable, culturally relevant. Sit back and listen to the wisdom while we represent. So reliable, culturally relevant. Readers and leaders, they hold it down where they have to sit. So reliable, culturally relevant. Sit back and listen to the wisdom while you represent. So reliable, culturally relevant. Readers and leaders, they hold it down, yeah, they have to sit.
Look, mommy, community in action. Well, oh my, let us sound of that. Look, daddy, there's a book for me too. Well, oh my, let us sound of that. Creative, affirming, culture for me too. Look, granny, let us sound of that.
Y'all know that's my favorite song, right? Forever loving the sound of that. And it's my ringtone. And every time it comes on, people are thinking that I got some song playing. I'm like, no, that's my song. That's our song. That's the Clever Communities in Action theme song. Forever loving the sound of that. All right. So again, we are hearing this all about the African-American children's literature, the Black books, okay? The books for the babies. This whole thing is about us reading and making sure that literacy stays at the forefront, all right? We read to succeed. We read to lead. We create a strong foundation in literacy for our children. We know that reading is not just something that we do for fluff. It's not just a tedious task. It is something that is necessary for the foundation of our children to grow and to be great. So this reading is all about that, but it's all about infusing culture into there too and building up community, building up family, making sure that we have a safe space for us to commune around literature, but positive representation within that, so that our children are reading books where they see little brown boys and little brown girls and characters that remind them of their family, or if it's just whimsical things, little boys and girls traveling into space, whatever things children like to do, but it's looking like them, all right? So the stars of these books look like our babies. And with that said, again, we have a very interesting guest tonight. A lot of our guests up here have been authors of children's books. And on this night, we actually have a novelist who wrote a book that is not for the children, but is still very much concerned about the plight of literacy in our community and our youth. So super excited to have him here. And we're going to bring up Brother Kola Rome.
How you doing?
How you doing there, sir? Like I said, you looking all dapper this evening.
Hey, this you know me. It's my everyday when I go out. Everybody know when I go out to do poetry, it's me.
I heard that. Well, we are loving the vibe. So look, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you right now? Where are you located? And what do you do?
Well, I'm located in Atlanta, Georgia, East Point, Atlanta. Been in Atlanta for the last about 25 years. I've been a spoken word artist and a poet. Went around the country doing spoken word, doing poetry. And then after about 20 years, I figured it was time for me to graduate. Since I always read books, I said it was time to graduate and start writing novels. And so I took the last 9 years and wrote a duology, two novels. And now I'm promoting one in a novel. And that's the future of my life. I got about two more stories in me before I leave out. So I'm going to write about. I got two more stories I got to write, but I just finished one story, so I got two more stories to go. So that's me. I'm a writer, spoken word artist, poet, storyteller. Well, I won the Moth of Atlanta on this previous one. I won a championship telling stories. So I'm good with words. And like I say, I don't do a lot of doing the art. I didn't have a chance to have a child, but I do believe in literacy. I started reading and never stopped reading, and I do believe that I think we're more literate now than we were like in the 1930s and 1940s. It's just that the technology.
You think we're more literate or illiterate?
We are more illiterate. I think the social media and the technology just covers it up. But you have a lot. I think people were reading more in the 1930s and 40s than they do now. And when you start talking to people, you realize just how much they don't read. They just go on. They just watch images on television or images on the computer, and they regurgitate them. And you realize, okay, a lot of people out here really are not reading. So whenever I get a chance, and whenever I get a chance, especially with the youth, if it's about reading, and somebody asks me, I'll be quick to do something.
Well, we are glad that you came up here to join us tonight. And I'm glad to see that you thought so much about that. People think a lot of times if you don't have children who you've given birth to, that it means you don't care, or that you're not invested in the youth in the community, or that you don't have children in your life who you are concerned about. So it's always great to hear, the community being concerned about what's going on with our children, and especially that you thought so much about literacy, because that's an extension of your gift, your art.
Exactly.
You do. So I'm sure you had to have a strong foundation.
Yeah. My mother always had books around the house, and I started out just watching television, and they would have the old swashbuckling TV shows with the guys with the sword fights, and they would be saying real articulate words, and I remember them, and I would quote it to my brother, and then he would come back with quotes of his own. Then he started having better quotes than me.
Oh.
And I was like, where are you getting them from? And he started saying the books. And when he started saying the books, that's when I started picking up books and started reading.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was
a competition going on.
Exactly.
That's funny because I consider myself to be a wordsmith as well. I love words. And it definitely came from reading. I have an interest in vocabulary. Like, when I hear vocabulary, like certain vocabulary coming from people, I'm like, I pay attention because I just really love words. Words are fascinating to me. So, and the different choices. But anyway, see, we can get into a whole word geek conversation right here. And I'm not going to do that to everybody who is tuned in. You guys are here because y'all want to hear the readings. So I am going to relinquish my, conversation with you. And well, first, before I go, what are you going to read for us tonight?
I'm going to read Double Bass Blues. I chose, like I said, I haven't read a child's book since The Little Choo Choo Train That Could. So
I'm here to blacken it up for you. I'm here to make sure you blacken that experience up.
So I chose one from the Blacklist, and I'm a jazz enthusiast, and my favorite jazz artist is Charles Mingus, the bass player. So I seen one that had double bass blues. They had a little boy who loved playing the bass. So I said, that'll be the one I'll read. And it's more of an illustrated book that you have to come up with your own story by just studying it. So I said, okay, this is very, very visual, so I have to explain the visuals to the kids. And it's by Andrea J. Looney, and the illustrator is Rudy, I don't want to butcher his name, Gutierrez, I think that's it, Gutierrez. If I butcher your name, brother, I'm sorry. Because he put a lot of work in this book. So the illustrator is Rudy Gutierrez, and it's by Andrea J. Looney.
Okay, well, just hold it up and then they'll be able to see it and they can find it. Because we do encourage everybody to add these books that you see up here to your reading list. So I'm going to step away. I think this will be fun because you said you're going to add some of your own artistic spin to it. And, it seems like you were very mindful in the book you selected. So I'm going to step away and let you do your thing, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yes, and as this book starts, it's more of an illustrative type of book, and it's called Double Bass Blues. Now, the bass is like an upside down guitar for the kids, and you can see it. And this kid's name is Nick. And as you're looking at it, you can see Nick loves to play his bass. You can see the smile on his face, and he got a hum. That's the sound that his bass is making. And you can tell that he really, really loves to play the bass. And so the next chapter, you have Nick and everybody is clapping. And then you realize that Nick is in concert and he's playing for a lot of people. And you realize, okay, Nick is a very, very good player because you have a lot of people clapping for him. Not only do you have a lot of people clapping for him, but you also have other kids that are playing their instruments along with him. And after the show, epic solo, Nick, you can hear all the kids say, epic solo, Nick. Everybody's giving him high fives because you realize that Nick was in concert and all of these other kids was helping Nick out. And Nick was playing his own concert. And you can tell all of these kids respect how good he plays his instrument. And afterwards, you have a sign saying, catch you later. And Nick telling all the other kids, catch you later. When he says, catch you later, you look at these kids, you look at their outfits. You realize they're in school. They're in private school. And so Nick is a musician at a private school. And he's telling all of these kids, I'll catch you later. He's about to go home. And you can also see Nick has his bass guitar on his back. That bass guitar is real, real big. So he got it tied to his back. But you can tell Nick loves his bass guitar. And so as Nick leaves to go home, you realize just how much Nick loves his bass guitar. Look what Nick is going through to get home. He has to throw the bass guitar over the gate, climb over the gate, and all of a sudden, he has a dog trying to tear his bass guitar away from him, and Nick is fighting the dog for that bass guitar. This shows you how much Nick is in love with playing his bass guitar. Second, Nick had to get on the train. And you can see all of the people on the train. And some of the kids on the train, they don't even know what the bass guitar is on his back. They saying, what is that that's on his back? And some of the kids even start making fun of him, making fun of his clothes. That's how some kids do when they don't understand you. And so they say, nice tie, chump. They're making fun of Nick. But you can see a lot of people don't realize what the bass guitar he has in his case is. But you're starting to realize the love and the dedication that Nick has for his bass guitar. Then it starts to rain. And when it starts to rain, you can see that Nick, instead of running from the rain, he's out there in the rain. Because Nick being a musician, musicians love to hear sounds. And you can hear the plunk, 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 and the whoosh of the cars rolling by in the rain. And you can hear that Nick is taking in those sounds like a good musician will. And then you hear this guy comes by and push him. This white gentleman says, watch it, kid. He don't understand, why Nick is standing in the rain. But Nick is out there listening to the sounds that the rain provides. Later on, still in the rain, you see more kids making fun of Nick. They saying that the bass guitar is bigger than him. That bass guitar is bigger than this kid. You see him, the bass guitar is bigger than him, But Nick he still soldiers on. He don't care what nobody think. He still soldiers on because he loves his bass guitar. And what happens? He finally makes it home. He finally makes it home. When Nick gets to his house, look at there. Look at the dedication. He has to take this big bass guitar all the way up a lot of stairs. Now you remind his bass guitar is bigger than him. He finally gets to the door and knocks on the door. And when he opens the door, who is there to greet him? His grandfather. His grandfather gives him a hug and asks him, what took you so long? He says, Granddaddy. And his granddaddy gives him a big hug. Not only does his granddaddy give him a big hug, look at all of the other musicians. His family is filled with a bunch of musicians, and you can see how happy Nick is. And you start realizing, okay, this is why Nick loves that bass guitar so much. He comes from a family of musicians who love their instruments. Not only do they love their instruments, all of them love him because all of them smile and say, look here, look who just walked in, it's little Nicky. The next page, you see why he's so confident he can play so good, because all of the men in his family, they're giving him all the confidence in the world. All of the men in the family. That boy with that bull fiddle, he made it. They want to hear him play. They want to hear how good he could play. Excuse me for moving it so, but I'm trying to get it on screen. But they want to realize, see how good Nick can actually play. And so Nick says, hey, Granddaddy Nick, meaning he was named after his granddaddy. Granddaddy Nick, listen to this. So he brung that bass guitar all the way home because he had something that he wanted his granddaddy to listen to. And what does he play? Look at it. Whoosh, 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 plunk, 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 clap, clap, clap. All of those sounds that Nick heard while he was standing in the rain, he starts playing on that bass guitar. All of those sounds that he was listening to when he was standing in the rain, he was taking in those sounds. He was taking in those sounds so he could bring them out in his bass guitar. And he came home, and when he came home to his grandfather and all the men in his family to show them what he had learned. The end.
All right. Thank you. That was excellent.
Forgive me for trying to figure out where I was supposed to be on the screen. Forgive me, y'all.
Oh, no, it's something to get used to. It's something to get, like, it took me a while to realize, like, I think for y'all, this might look like my right hand, but it's actually my left hand when I was a point. And it's a thing that you got to learn with this video. Don't feel bad. You know, you're not going to get it in 3 minutes. So I think you did a great job.
Okay, thank you.
So what particularly did you like about the story? Because I had some things that stood out for me.
Well, I like as the book went along, you realized, the thing I like about it most, you realize that he was the reason he was dedicated to his bass guitar and he loved his bass guitar. When he got home, you realize his family, all the men in his family had put their love in him for that bass guitar. And that's what you realize when you get home, all the little things he has to go through in that day. When he got home, you see how he relaxed and all the men were just enjoying him playing. So that's the thing I like about it the most. And at the end, you realize, okay, this is why this kid loves his bass guitar so much. He got all these men encouraging him, putting that love in him and putting that dedication and giving him and building up his confidence. And you can see it. And then it shows at the beginning how all the people respect his musicianship.
Definitely. I think it was a great storyline. It's a couple of things. We have a few books like that in our collection. There's one called Jazz Baby. There's another one called I Got the Rhythm, where a lot of it is like sound, not necessarily a lot of text, but sound. And I find that children really, really enjoy those books because when we read it to them, there's a lot of movement and call and response that goes on with those books. So imagine a group of children around and you guys are, swoosh and woo and all, it's a fun time to be had. So I do think that's an excellent book to add to anybody's collection because again, I can just imagine, a family having a great time or even a child by his or herself reading that book. Another thing, when we, when children take on a passion or if we notice something that they are passionate about and we feed that, it's so powerful because it talked about how the bass was bigger than he was. but he still was toting it around. And a lot of times we'll find when children have passions with things like that, it keeps them away from the not so savory things in life. They are focused on whatever their talent, their craft, the thing that they're passionate about the most. And as you said, the people in his family, you know, fueled that. There were people joking him about the bass was bigger than him, but his family, you know, supported his love for that. So I think that was definitely powerful. And then my little last point, back to the swoosh and the sounds, you know, the artistry is so interesting that to a musician, you know, it's raining outside to everybody else. To him, there's a symphony or a band playing when he hears all these sounds. I was listening to an interview earlier while I was working, and it was an illustrator, a Black children's book illustrator, Gordon. Why did I just forget? I know his name. I just forgot the last name, although I definitely know his name. But anyway, he's talking about just being out and seeing, you know, being around and seeing different images that just might look like you're passing through the day for anybody else, but it starts, you know, it makes sense into a beautiful painting or something to create. Or when you and I were talking about, like, I can hear some words on TV or hear something, and then I'm like, boom, automatically I start writing something. So it's
I have to shut my mind off. That's
Yeah, I have so many pieces that I have not put out, but just hearing something, you know, and I'm like, whoo, just writing from that. So I think that was very interesting. So I think that was a great selection you had there.
Thank you. You know, that was the first time doing it, so thank y'all for being kind to me, because I was like, I didn't know how this was gonna go. So,
you know, we're gonna take care of you here now. You know that. So we appreciate the fact that you took the time to come and read to our youth and to read on this platform, and that you went and found that book. So I have some initiation that I have to do right now. I got to let you know that you know, you are officially a member of our literacy gang now.
Okay.
Gang. You are part of the literacy gang. So this gang is founded upon a love of literacy, culture, community. And so you are in this gang. You can come up here and read anytime you want to. Hop in this comment section, but it's full of love. You can't get out of it. So you in the gang.
Well, thank you. And to the like I said, to the I'm an adult writer, so to the fathers out there or to the mothers out there who's into like the gritty, real high literature, you know, check me out. I do gritty literature, but on a high level. It's not a coffee table book. Everybody will be reading. So, all right, Coach, I got the focus. I said, yeah. I said, don't let the title fool you. So to all of the fathers out there and mothers who are book readers, you know, you want a good book, go to colarum.net, man. I got 2 good books for you.
Definitely go there, and I can attest to the fact that I have not read the book yet, but I will be reading the book. But I know that he's a wordsmith, because I know Cola from, I won't even get into how long. We don't have to talk about all of that, but I know him from way back in the day as a dope poet and MC. So I remember one of the first times I heard him perform. This is, you know, back when the poetry scene was burgeoning for, you know, I mean, it's revived itself so many times. It's something that's going to be here forever. But you know, it's had some of the highs, I believe, you know, that go through the time frame. And so one of the pivotal high moments during that time was around the time when I first heard you perform. So I definitely know, and still doing your thing, still known around ATL and then other places all around the country. So definitely check out his work. You said that's colarum.net.
Yeah, colarum.net. You can check it out. I got 1 book out. The second one comes out in January. It's I don't know if anybody's familiar with Octavia Butler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's Octavia Butler, the male version, got ghosts and spirit, all that type of stuff. Stephen Kingish, Octavia Butler type book, coming from a black male perspective, heterosexual black male perspective. So so check the book out. You'll really, if you're a reader, you'll really appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all want to get with the action. I can co-sign the talent. So definitely make sure that y'all get with that. And again, I want to thank you so much for coming up here. Was there anything else that you want to say before you leave us?
No, just keep reading. If you got children, just put books in their life early. That's all I say. There's not enough people, especially black people. We do not have enough literate black people. It's sad, but it's the reality. And so if you do have kids, put books in their life early, because if you give them to reading early, they're gonna keep reading their whole life. If you give them to them early, cut them TVs off, put them in the closet. You know what I'm saying? The TV can't match the imagination. The book is always better than the TV show and the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I agree. Devices down. We got to make sure that we take some time to put those devices down and pick those books up. Well, thank you for those great words and for that great reading. And we look forward to having you back up here because you are part of the literacy game. So you enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, I look forward to seeing you again. All right.
All right. Respect.
All right. Peace. Okay, you guys. So that was great. I definitely enjoyed that from Cola Rum. And as he said, check out his site, colarum.net, to find out about his novel that he's written and what he's up to. Like I said, definitely a great poet. I have enjoyed, look, I don't know if any of y'all frequent the poetry scene, but it's a lot of talent out of there. And definitely that brother is one of them at the top. So colarum.net. And with that said, y'all see I'm here. I'm holding it down by myself this evening. So I am going to read some books for you guys myself because the stories, they have to happen. I got a little glare thing going on here, but I have one of my easy readers, okay? So I want to think about our little ones right now. I know a lot of times we don't pick the books for the little ones, but I want you guys to have an understanding that no matter what age of children that you have or what reading level of children that you have in your life, we got stuff. There are things out here for them, okay? We got the goods, okay? So this is Black Panther as an easy reader. Y'all remember the little golden books growing up? The little, okay, wrong side. With the little, y'all know about these. Well, they have these with plenty of Black characters on there. So we're going to do a little bit of Black Panther, okay? And let's see. How you doing, Clifton? I hope you are well, that you are having a great evening. I'm about to dive into this Black Panther for the little ones, all right? So again, these are books to be added to your summer reading list, and I hope you guys are pulled up and ready to hear this story. So his name is T'Challa. Like his father before him, he is the leader of Wakanda, a majestic and mysterious country in Africa. But he is better known as the superhero called Black Panther. As chief of the Panther tribe, Black Panther must use his strength, speed, and other powers to protect his people. Uh-oh, did I skip? Black Panther's costume is laced with a powerful metal called vibranium, which allows him to absorb potent punches and deliver crushing blows. Vibranium can make other objects strong too. Captain America's shield is made of the same metal. Booyah! The claws in Black Panther's costume can rip even the hardest steel. Along with his strength and speed, Black Panther uses his vibranium claws to climb up walls and keep his balance at great heights. Some action-packed things going on here. Wakanda is the only place on Earth where vibranium exists. Lots of people want to steal it, so it's Black Panther's job to stop them. An evil scientist named Ulysses Claw was so, y'all Marvel people gonna be mad at me. Is it Claw? Was so determined to get a piece of the powerful metal. Colonizer. That he became the evil supervillain known as Claw. Boom, I was right. Using high-powered sound waves, Claw has battled Black Panther many times, but Black Panther always finds a way to defeat the master of sound. Black Panther uses his many incredible powers to fight other villains such as Man-Ape, a human with the strength of a giant gorilla, and Eric Killmonger, a skilled fighter and sworn enemy of Black Panther. Black Panther is also super smart. He uses his intelligence to beat the bad guys. He can even outwit big brain villains like MODOK. Black Panther is brave. When disaster strikes, he always answers the call for help. Black Panther has some amazing friends: Black Widow, Thor, Hawkeye, Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Wasp, and Ant-Man. Together, they are the Avengers. They battle foes that are too powerful for any one of them to face alone. See that action, Clifton? As a member of the Avengers, Black Panther must be ready for anything because evil and danger lurk around every corner. But there's no need. Oh, wait. Y'all got to see the evil and the danger. Evil, danger. But there's no need for fear. When the mighty hero Black Panther is near, go, Black Panther. Boom. Wait a minute. Got to see that little... Go Black Panther. So there we have it. There we have it. That was Black Panther in a little golden book. Okay. So even at the youngest of ages, we have these culturally affirming treats here. I'm going to grab some of these comments. Clifton said that's super dope. Patrick, hey, how you doing? Love that interview that you had going on earlier. I just referred to that previously. Clifton says those drawings are awesome. I know that is really, that you are really enjoying that as a fellow illustrator. Patrick says the illustrations are great. And let's see, Clifton says M'Baku, that's Man-Ape, but they thought the name would be too controversial. Yeah, when I saw Man-Ape, I was a little like, okay, but I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. And again, the whole point of this reading is for it to be a time when we come together and focus on reading. So having the little ones in your life to pull up, or if you're just someone who enjoys Black stories, that you can come and pull up and listen to these things. And even if you don't have your little ones with you at this time, pay attention to the titles that we have and go ahead and add them. This was an easy read, but it was a fun read. And some of these things are really nostalgic here. You know, when I look at these little golden books, I remember the pokey little puppy back in the day. So, you know, they updated. They have things that are much more current. I see up here, they have Spider-Man and some other things as well, but we're doing the Black Panther round here. Okay, so I'm going to move on and do another one. My niece, if you guys were tuned in when I was in Alabama, my niece read what I think may have been the first chapter book. The first time I think somebody came up here and read a children's chapter book. And it was written by Derek Barnes. And it was a book called Ruby and the Booker Boys. So it's a book that a lot of little girls are focused on. And it's a book that actually was one of the motivating factors for me when I began to push this culturally affirming literature movement. Okay. Now I have one that little girls do enjoy reading this book, but the protagonist, the character, is a little boy. He is Jaden Toussaint. And one of the things when we do, if you guys are familiar with the movement with Clever Communities in Action, you guys know that every year we do our annual youth book drive. And so we donate 100 books to at least 2 schools. So that's 200 books between the 2 schools, 200 culturally affirming books. And these are always, once we found out about Jaden Toussaint, they end up being in the list. And I remember being at Tidewater Park Elementary School. I think it was Tidewater Park. And the media specialist was saying that the little girls have a crush on Jaden. That they have a crush on Jaden. I was like, isn't that cute? A crush on the character in the book. I like it. So I am going to read to you guys from Jaden Toussaint. And again, it is a chapter book. And the children, you know, they really like when they graduate to the chapter book. So I am just going to do chapter 1. And this is written by Marty Dumas. And it is illustrated by Marie Murabaski. Now, I hope I'm saying Marty's last name correctly. It's been a minute, but she's a Facebook friend. She obviously is an author with this Jaden series. She also has a couple of other books that are really, really exciting. And she has one called Jayla and the Wolves. And these books are based around her children. And I like Jayla. It's a science fiction, again, type of book there. And Marty is into making sure that she's working on other books right now, that our children are able to see characters that look like them doing the sci-fi type things or the whimsical things. And I think that's really, really great. But I'm going to introduce you guys to Jaden, okay? So we are in chapter 1, and it's just spring. Jaden Toussaint hated the spring. I haven't heard of that before, if anybody hated the spring. So let's find out why. Well, it's not exactly that he hated spring. It's more like he was on the fence about it. Spring was okay, but he just couldn't see why people thought it was so much better than winter. Sure, he could eat snowballs in the spring, and spring was the perfect time to fly his kite. But there was no way any of the spring stuff could compete with his super duper ultra deluxe winter coat. Jaden Toussaint's mom had let him pick it from a catalog, and it was pretty much the coolest coat ever. It was windproof, water resistant, and had fancy fuzzy lining that could zip in and out. It even had a hood. So this coat, it says it has a creature activation device, a head warmer, a Tarampu card pocket, detachable claws, hand warmers. So Jaden is really serious about this winter coat. So much so that it seems to affect how he feels about spring. The first time JT put his new coat on, he had been instantly transformed into a polar bear, claws and all. The icy blast of winter didn't stand a chance against his polar bear armor. He couldn't wait to show his friends. Wait until it gets cold, baby. Can I wear it to school tomorrow? So Jaden gets this coat, and it's not even cold outside yet, but it's so cool to him that he wants to wear it. This reminds me of being a child and wanting to wear things that were off season, because for whatever reason, you really, really took a liking to it. And, you know, either it's not hot enough yet for you to wear it, or it is too hot, in this case, for you to be wearing it, but it's your favorite item. There was just one problem. The icy blast of winter never came. At first, he had waited patiently. Is it cold enough to wear my coat today? Is it cold enough to wear my coat today? Is it cold enough to wear my coat today? But after what seemed like forever, the grown-up said it was only 2 weeks. But it had to be longer than that. Jaden Toussaint decided to take matters into his own hands. Science to the rescue. All he had to do was learn everything there was to know about meteorology, and he'd be able to fix the weather. No problem, right? So Jaden has to wear this coat. Wrong! By the end of the so-called winter, Jaden Toussaint had learned an awful lot about meteorology, but he still hadn't discovered a way to make the weather do exactly what he wanted when he wanted. Despite his efforts, it had only gotten cold enough for Jaden Toussaint to wear his coat twice, and both of those times had been on the weekend. There's no school on the weekend. How was he supposed to magically transform into a polar bear for his friends when he could not even get to wear his coat to school? Then silly old spring arrived, and JT's mother had packed his beautiful, extraordinary, magical coat into the back of his closet with all the other winter things, never to be seen again, possibly. Well, at least not until next winter, and that was really, really far away. Poor Jaden. Poor Jaden. Some people might think spring is puddle wonderful, but Jaden Toussaint totally agreed with that poet. It's just spring. Calm down, people. What's the big deal? As far as he could tell, there was nothing about spring that could even sort of compete with a polar bear. But then the mail came. I'm pretty sure that's not what he said. So that's chapter 1. That was chapter 1. So we found out about Jaden's desire for this coat. I'm a little curious. Let me see how far chapter 2 goes. I might go ahead and do chapter 2 for you guys because I'm a little. Chapter 2's not that many. If y'all gonna stick around with me for a minute, we'll go ahead and find a little bit more about Jaden's curiosity with this coat, okay? Because I want to know a little bit more about this. I'm intrigued by this little boy and his disdain for spring, okay? So chapter 2, Doctor Who. There was one good thing about spring that Jaden Toussaint had forgotten. The spring issue of Doctor Who. Doctor Who was a comic book, but it wasn't just any comic book. It was the best, most action-packed comic book in the world. It had a genius owl, a robot cat, a pygmy marmoset, tons of aliens from outer space, and a time machine tree that was bigger on the inside. I need somebody to use their Googles and find out what a pygmy marmoset is. I need to know, all right? All right, so now Jaden is talking to his dad, and his dad has said, I'm sorry about your coat, bruh. And Jaden's like, what coat? Has he forgotten about this coat now? Doctor Who was so cool that just seeing it zapped all thoughts of JT's winter coat right out of his head. Okay. Technically, the comic book belonged to Sissy, and he had a vague memory of someone telling him something about it, maybe being too scary for him. But when he saw it just lying there at the top of the pile, he couldn't resist taking a quick peek. It's still too scary for you, bruh. Maybe when you get a little older. I'm sorry, baby. I know you're looking forward to it, but it's much too scary for you. Doctor Who is way too scary for you, Toots. So these are all the grown people in Jaden's head telling him that he's not ready to read Doctor Who yet. Now here we have some illustrations of what Doctor Who looks like. I promised you a vacation, didn't I, Thumbs? How does a planet where it's always spring sound? Like spooky laughter? Spooky laughter? Oh no, chuckling cherubs. So this is this interesting world of Doctor Who. At first it was nothing too terrible. They did a little time travel. I'm a time traveler. Ran into a band of chuckling cherubs. Doctor Who and Thumbs almost fell into an eternal fit of laughter. Feline stepped in to save them. Doctor Who used his sonic hoot in a clever way to stop the chuckling cherubs for good. Then Doctor Who and his two companions escaped and headed back to Time's relative elasticity exploiter called Tree for short. What's everybody making such a fuss about? JT thought to himself. This comic book is not scary at all. But when he turned the pages, he saw something so frightening that it made his hair stand even more on end. Ledex. Hundreds of Ledex standing between Doctor Who and his time machine. The Ledex were Doctor Who's most dangerous foes. They were the only ones who could get through the defenses of his time machine. Jaden Toussaint had heard Sissy talking about the Ledex before, but he had never imagined anything like this. They looked like worms, but they were covered with spiky armor and they could shoot laser beams from their scary little worm faces. Yikes. Faces that shoot lasers, poison spikes, a Ledex. Oh, all right, Jaden. The next thing he knew, JT was shrieking in terror and Sissy was running into his room to check on him. She took one look at the Doctor Who comic book on the floor and immediately guessed what happened. Sissy sat down next to Jaden Toussaint and put her arm around him. It felt good. Do you know that Doctor Who is a scientist just like you, Sissy asked? Jaden Toussaint nodded. So sometimes it takes him a few tries to solve his problem. JT nodded again. Do you want me to read the rest of the comic book with you? It might make you feel better to see Doctor Who escape in the end. Jaden Toussaint shook his head. He felt a little braver now that Sissy was in the room, but not that brave. Okay, I'll take it back to my room and put it on the top shelf where you can't see it. But if you change your mind. No way, JT said. I don't ever want to see one of those creepy Ledecs again. She gave him one last hug, scooped up the comic book, and left the room. After playing with the Gree for a while, Jaden Toussaint's thoughts returned to happier things like Tarampu cards in school. Before he knew it, the Ledecs were completely out of his head, and good riddance. Jaden has quite the imagination here. So that was chapters 1 and 2, you guys, of Jaden Toussaint. And like I said, this is written by Marty Dumas. And this is a chapter book with a Black male youth as the protagonist. It is a fan favorite when we deliver these to the schools, when we donate these to the schools, the children flock to them. And if you missed it, I heard that a lot of the little girls have a crush on young Jaden. And this is a part of a series, okay? So I think that this is an excellent thing to add to your reading selection. If you have any little boys or little girls, they have found this to be enjoyable. A lot of times when I think of the chapter books, I think of ones that have girl protagonists, which are very important, but we do have Jaden here, and there are some other ones with little boys. So you want to add this to your collection. I'm going to grab these comments here. Let's see, we have Quentin who said, hello, how are you doing, sir? And we have Portia is here. She says she loves to hear me read. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, sis. And Keisha says that Shania sends her love. Definitely miss that. Good evening. Definitely miss her. Tell her that we're sending that love right back to her. And you guys, speaking of Shania, I have my tickets. We put an announcement on the Clever Communities in Action Facebook page that one of our babies, Shania, our young reader, is in a leading role in a play. If you've caught her do any of her monologues here, you know that she does such a wonderful job. She does a great job reading, and she's wonderful with these monologues. So she has a leading role in Junie B. Jones, and I got my ticket. I have my ticket. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to Hurrah Players. It's an outdoor production, and social distancing rules will be in place. But I will definitely be there. We will be there. We want the village to show up and support her. So you can scroll down on the Clever Communities in Action Facebook page and find that flyer. It's not too many posts down, or you can just go to Hurrah, HURRAH players.com, and or just Google Hurrah Players and go up there and purchase a ticket. We definitely want to support our youth, and we just want to support all the things that are going on in the village. I want to shout out right now, Sister Danelle, the influencer, is the initiator, is doing some great things with her Arcanets group. And so make sure that you're following her and paying attention to the things that she and the Zetas are doing. Sister Portia, and she has some wonderful projects that are coming up. I don't know if I have permission to speak on those things yet, but she's working hard to provide some great things for the community. We also have Bridget. Bridget put out, I shared that webinar. She did a wonderful live on if you are thinking about homeschooling. If you are thinking about homeschooling your children, she has a lot of years in education, and she went through and gave you guys some pointers and some things to consider. So we have great work coming out of our village. People are always doing things to help. So make sure you guys are checking those things out and that we are supporting one another. Thank you guys for tuning in. Another thank you to Cola for coming through and blessing us with the story that he had. Make sure you guys, again, go check out his site, colarum.net. Again, he has a novel that it's in Virginia. Mine is in Virginia, and I'm not there right now. But as soon as I get back home, I will be diving into the book that he wrote. It's for adults. It's for adults, and the title is for adults. But it's a great book, and we focus on children's literature here, but you know, we all need to be reading. We all need to be reading. And then finally, I just want to say, you know, again, sending much love to our influencers. You guys, if you checked in, let's see, last week, you know, was their last week and they are moving on to great things in their lives, but we are rebroadcasting their show. So yesterday we put the first one out when I introduced them, when y'all didn't know about this great thing that was coming. So you can go back to yesterday and just see when they were first introduced. And then, you know, next Wednesday, it will be their first show that they did by themselves. And we're just going to rebroadcast those. So if you didn't get to get in from the beginning, or if you missed something, make sure that you're tuned in on Wednesdays. And then you guys know that you find us. We do our rebroadcast every day on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And make sure, again, finally, that you guys sign up to read. The sign-in sheet is pinned on the Clever Communities in Action Facebook page. That means it's at the top. So if you are interested in being a guest reader, just go right there, sign up, and get on up here. If you're new, we welcome you. It's an easy situation. We're going to welcome you with open arms. And if you are already a member of the Literacy Gang, come on back. We'd love to have you back. And finally, you guys, make sure that you like the Clever Communities in Action Facebook page, follow Clever Communities in Action on YouTube, and make sure that you click the share button right now, okay? So you guys, I am going to go ahead and close us out this evening, but it has been very real. I hope you all are doing well. It is summertime and we're summering in a different way, but we are still here. We are still a family. We are still a literacy gang, and we all have things to be grateful for. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and y'all make sure y'all tune out to this. Peace.
Look, mommy, community in action. What on my little sound of that? Look, daddy, there's a book for me too. What on my little sound of that? Creative, affirming, and culture for me too. Look, granny, a little sound of that. Look, granny, a little sound of that. Look, granny, a little sound of that. Learning, exploring my history, you see. Look, mommy, a little sound of that. We confident, we practice and developing fluency. Look, daddy, a little sound of that. Families, they bonding, they representing me. Look, granny, a little sound of that. Look, I'm here, a little sound of that. Nice, I see a little sound of that.
So reliable, culturally relevant. Sit back and listen to the wisdom while we represent. So reliable, culturally relevant. Readers to leaders, they hold it down where they have to sit. So reliable, culturally relevant. Sit back and listen to the wisdom while you represent. So reliable, culturally relevant. Readers to leaders, they hold it down, yeah, they have to sit.
Look, mommy, community in action. Well, on my little sound of that. Look, daddy, there's a book for me too. Well, on my little sound.